This is the Scary Movie Clubcast.
Live at the Clubhouse, it's a Scary Movie Clubcast. This is Amanda.
This is Megan.
This is Mackenzie.
This is Nadine.
And tonight we watched Zombieland, and to rate it, I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5 snowballs. Which is really like 10 snowballs, because 10 packs of 2.
That's right. That's right.
Like 2.5 packs.
I also give it 5 out of 5 snowballs.
I also give it 5 out of 5 snowballs.
Yeah, you can get as many snowballs as you want. The Twinkies are all out, but
Well,
if you get all the snowballs,
All
you
the
need,
snowballs, a whole
that'll do pig.
wrecked hostess truck of snowballs. Alright, and tonight we're gonna be playing like a little game, and we're gonna call it What's Your Sign? Murderer Edition.
Bang, 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 bang.
And so in this episode, we have Mackenzie and Nadine are gonna be telling us about the birth charts of a couple of real bad people. Then afterwards, based on the attributes of the sign, we're gonna guess who the person is. So, Mackenzie, can you just describe for us a little bit about what a birth chart is exactly?
So it talks about your sun sign, which is the one that most people know. When you ask someone what's your zodiac sign, that's your sun sign. It says it's your identity, kind of what you put out into the world, what drives you, the highest expression of your true self, kind of your individuality and your type of energy that you need to feel revitalized. It says, for example, your sun sign's element is helpful in understanding your self-expression tendencies and how you recharge. So, like, I'm Cancer is my sun sign. That's a lot of, like, kind of moodiness or, like, emotions or sensitivity and things like that. Your moon sign is sort of the subconscious part of yourself. It's a part of yourself that you know better than other people don't really see it as much. They see your sun sign a lot more than your own moon sign. So website talks about it, helps you feel pleasure and pain, joy and sorrow, gives insight into how you nurture and restore yourself, helpful in understanding your inner world and how you typically react in emotional situations. And then your rising sign or your ascendant is the other, like, if you want to get fancy about it, your ascendant sign is your social personality. It's your physical body and outward style, your inner and outer world, helpful in understanding the type of energy that drives your physical body and overall approach to life. They all kind of work together, again, like the sun sign being that, like, core self of who you are. Your ascendant is how others perceive you, and your moon sign is, like, your, like, behind the scenes, I guess.
Okay, so I'm going to go first with my person. I'm going to try to keep it as vague as I can so that we can get some decent guessing. Because just so we know, before we saw Amanda's YouTube thing, she had already told me that her person was male, was a serial killer, when they were born, where they were. Like, she had already...
Okay.
So, I mean, just so we know.
Well, I thought we were all doing serial killers, so I didn't think that was a big giveaway.
I also thought we were.
I thought we were
Secondly,
not.
serial
I thought that we were
killers.
just doing someone who was, like, either a murderer
Oh,
or
well,
a cult
yeah,
leader, or, like,
yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
and a murderer, usually it's gonna be a man. Pretty unlikely you're gonna find a good woman one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sad. Alright, so my little person is their sun sign is Virgo. So, some different things that you can know about Virgo. Just side note, so as you can hear this, you can think about it. Amanda's Virgo, so just things to consider.
Big time.
Big time. Virgos tend to be modest, thoughtful, serious, contemplative, and industrious.
Not that serious.
They desire to refine the mind and acquire knowledge. They learn quickly or philosophical. A good reasoner. They usually have, like, a good command of knowledge, and they're quick at recuperating. Virgos don't usually show their age. Amanda, can I get an amen?
Yeah, buddy.
When you are right, you are right.
Amanda is 30, and she still gets carded.
For being under 17.
Yep.
Most recently, an unaccompanied minor at the airport, so...
And she's tall, too, so it's not like...
It doesn't make sense, people.
Just got that baby face. They're quick-tempered, but not a fighter, prefers arbitration, loves order, beauty, art, literature, not easily discouraged or kept down, but given to worry. They're idealistic yet practical. They're frugal yet... Amanda's not frugal.
Okay,
Just so we know.
I'm not that big of a spender. I just like to treat myself every once in a while.
Treat yourself.
Yes, exactly, Megan.
Got you, boo.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
They're cautious and they give a lot of forethought. They're very active and they're seldom contented long at a time. They desire wealth but are not usually able as a rule to acquire the wealth easily.
Hard truth right there.
Interested in hygiene, labor, diet conditions. I don't know if that's accurate. I have that written down, but maybe I got confused and wrote two words that weren't supposed to go together. It's totally possible. It probably doesn't mean anything. It's probably that Nadine miswrote her note.
I don't know. I'd be reading these things and they're like,
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
like, this is
understand
a gibberish sentence. I don't know what this means.
Yeah.
Difficult, cold, overly particular. Which difficult and cold definitely goes for my person, and like negative, self-focused, cynical, dark sense of humor. There's evidence of that with my person.
Ooh, what did they do?
Did they
Fine
kill
with not
someone?
being the leader. Fine with not being the leader is also true of my person. And when a Virgo
True,
makes
me
a
too.
commitment, they keep it. You know who else keeps their commitments? Murderers.
You know what? I'm
I
a
mean,
murder
it's
this
an all or
person.
nothing kind of thing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, people have tried to do all or nothing. That's how you get caught.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of what else I
Clearly,
said on
this
the first
person
one that went
did
with
get
them.
caught. That's
Right,
why
they all
she knows
got
about
caught.
them.
They be making dumb choices, let me tell you.
Yes.
Modest also would probably go with them. Those are like the ones that stick out to me. Quick-tempered goes for them, for sure. Given to worry, 1,000,000%.
I mean, you're murdering people, you should be worried.
Okay, but you guys are trying to narrow it down. So think of the
Okay.
people who, like, you would... like, I'm not just
Terrible
saying,
at guessing
just as a
games.
murderer, this goes with them. But, like,
Uh-huh.
specifically, I would think of this for this person.
Okay, this is. But he is a murderer, or he just is related to like
He or
murder?
she?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know how specific I'm supposed
Yeah,
to
if
be getting at
anyone-
this point.
Was gonna pick someone who was not a man, it would definitely be Nadine.
Oh, thank you.
Like, you know what? Women can be murderers too.
She would go out of her way to find
Why?
a female
Murder.
murderer when it's just like there's just so many men out there. To
Is this
just
a
choose from.
historical murderer? Like, is it? I mean, they're all obviously.
Yeah, I was going to say, it
historical,
made
but-
history.
Well, I mean,
is it
is
like
it?
in this
Yeah, that's what I
century or
mean.
the previous century? You
Like,
know,
is it like an old like
This century.
this century?
was it?
We aren't even into their moon sign yet, so I don't know how much
I love
information
this
you guys want at
20
this point.
questions murder.
Yeah, I don't know how 20 questions-ish we should get yet until I go into the
Okay,
moon
okay,
sign.
do the moon sign. Or
Oh, but let me just
rising.
see. Their moon sign was Aquarius. They filter their emotions through their mind, and it can sometimes come across as cold and emotionally reserved. Definitely true of this person. They're innovative, unique. Unique I wouldn't necessarily say, but innovative I think would be good. Advanced
Ooh.
thinking.
What did they do?
This one is so super true of them. Closer to friends than relatives. More bonded to those they feel that they have chosen. Curious. They have an aversion to conservative and old-fashioned. That's 1,000,000% true of this person, like hardcore.
What was it again?
They have an aversion to conservative or old-fashioned type things.
Okay.
Naturally social and outgoing. A little bit.
You can only be so social when you're killing people, you know.
Yeah. Open-minded. Sure.
What?
So this part is probably true. Seek knowledge of all sorts, and they're not strong in empathy or compassion. That's super true of this person, obviously.
I mean,
We can't, after every single thing that I say is true, be like, I mean, you're a murderer.
I mean,
Because I just want you guys to know every time I say one of that, Amanda looks at Megan and goes,
Well, it is what it is.
So they struggle to comprehend others' emotion on an emotional level, and sometimes due to inner tension, they'll express unconventional or extreme viewpoints only for the shock value. That's probably true of this person too, probably. They're selfish, defiant, unpredictable, detached, all true. Okay, and then their rising sign was Libra. So Libras, as the rising sign, tends to mean that you can comprehend every angle of a situation. You create diplomatic resolution to the problem. Not so much true, I would say, with this person. I didn't see much of that. Socially adept, rational, harmonious, just. They work well in team environment. That's definitely true of this person, that they work well in a team environment. They stay cool and focused on issue at hand. Definitely true. Remain impartial, artistic, mind is logical and balanced, adaptable, like to hear every aspect of a story, and indecisive. I wouldn't say that none of those things like specifically stick out to me as being like, yeah, for sure. Maybe a little artistic, but just, I mean, somewhat. I would say somewhat artistic.
Dude.
Jumped up from a little to somewhat.
You know what? We're going with it.
Do we want to play 20 questions now?
Yeah.
Sure. Just want everyone to know that I'm terrible at guessing games.
Yeah. We also don't actually have to count the 20 questions.
Right. No.
So wait, were they alive during our lifetime
Yes.
or more our parents' lifetime?
I was alive when this person was alive.
Were they actively killing people
Yeah.
during this time?
During which time?
Like,
time
During
you were
the time
alive.
you
When
were
was
alive.
their big, like, was it
Yes,
the 90s,
they,
80s?
Yes, they killed when I was alive.
So, okay.
Should I give the decade?
I mean, sure, I don't know how much that will
I
help
don't-
anyway,
yeah,
Yeah, I
so-
don't know if
mean-
that'll help, so you can.
90s.
The 90s?
Okay.
Okay.
Ooh.
I kept saying there were, I mean,
So this was big. news.
Big.
news.
Historic.
How
We still talk
historic.
about it today.
Did he kill, is it a guy?
It is a man.
is
Did
this a mass shooter?
A boy.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
gonna say.
Is this Columbine?
Yeah.
It's Columbine.
which one?
Which one?
I have
you
no
tell
idea.
me.
I don't remember their names.
You tell me.
Dylan
I don't
and
know.
Eric are their names. Dylan
Dylan-
and Aaron.
One of them was a bit weird, and the other one was very popular.
One wasn't he like a jock or something?
Is it
Yeah.
Eric? Is it Eric Claiborne?
Dylan. Yeah, it's Dylan.
Okay.
Because Eric was an Aries, and Eric was very much
Ah.
the leader. Like, for sure.
That makes so much sense.
Okay.
And, like, even when, like psychologists have, like, read through all their journals and their tapes, because, oh my gosh, they left a lot to go through. That's why I could have researched this for so
Oh my
much
God.
longer. Like,
Yeah.
there's so much.
There's
There's
much.
so much. But like the psychologists that have gone through all that stuff, they said they were like, we think that basically Eric was fine with dying at the end, just cared about how many people he could take down with him, and Dylan basically just wanted to die at the end and was fine if people died with him. So definitely like Eric was going in a lot more for the murder, and Dylan was going in a lot more for the suicide at the end. And then, like, it's crazy, too, because Eric, man, as I was researching this, I was like, man, I kind of find Eric more interesting. But I was already, honestly, the reason that I did Dylan is because I wanted to originally do John List. But then they didn't have the time of when he was born, and so I couldn't get his full birth chart, and I was super depressed. I had already looked up all this Virgo stuff, because he was also a Virgo.
You just
Amanda.
want to do a Virgo, hardcore.
Well, no, I wanted to do him, and he was a Virgo, so I'd already looked up the Virgo stuff when I realized I couldn't get
John
his
List,
other
is
side.
he the one who he killed his
Murdered
family?
his whole family,
in
yeah.
the mansion.
Yes. Yeah, Tiffany Skylet.
Oh my gosh, that one. Oh, it's just so crazy. Couldn't imagine living in the
But then when I couldn't do him, I was like, okay, well, I'm not losing all this Virgo information. And so then I was like, okay, I need a Virgo. Dylan was. And so I was like, okay, baby boy, it's you.
Little baby boy Dylan. Okay, we need to watch the documentary An American Tragedy. I met the lady that did it when I was in Colorado. I lived in Highlands Ranch, which is close to Littleton, which is close to Columbine. So
Yeah.
I was around Columbine, but
Columbine adjacent.
and so the lady that did these two documentaries, and the first one's called Going Sane, and I really want to watch it, and the second one's called An American Tragedy, and it's this whole big, huge documentary about Columbine.
I
And
saw
it's-
stuff about it while I was looking.
Yeah, we should watch. The lady was so freaking cool and nice, and I learned so much from her about totally unrelated stuff, and then also about American tragedy.
Colorado is like a really depressing state to me. Like, I have to admit,
is some pretty wacko.
just
trashy
so many
place.
weird, terrible, horrible things have happened there. Like Columbine, the massive movie theater
Yeah,
shooting,
Rush.
John Benet Ramsey, that's where she died. Like, it's just wild to me how much of it happens in Colorado, because I'm like,
It's a
you're
good
just
place.
one of the random little states. Like, why do you have all the big weird ones?
There's weird people. Colorado is such a weird place because it's like two different states in one. Like, that's one of the things. So the western slope, that the Rocky Mountain divide, it turns it into two different states. Like, there are people on the western slope, which is obviously the western part of Colorado, like Grand Junction and Rifle and those types of cities, Montrose, that like, well, Montrose isn't really, but they're like so like cowboy town, and then Denver is so super liberal democratic that like people in Junction in that area, like they like consider themselves like almost two separate states of Colorado. It's like super weird. Like they hate that they have to pay for things, that they have to pay state things for people in Denver who hate. Everyone hates the other side. It's super weird. Like when I lived in Denver and I said, "Oh, I'm going to the Western Slope," they're like, "That's disgusting. Like good luck." And then when I was like literally people would say that's the armpit of America, the Western Slope. And then when I was off on the Western Slope and I'd say, "Oh, I lived in Denver for 9 months," they're like, "Oh, aren't you so glad you escaped from that hellhole?" And I'm like, "I loved Denver." And they were like, "We don't talk like that." I know. And they're like, "Well, around these parts, we just eat our cows." No, they hate each other. It's
you
so
said
weird.
cows like as if it's a weird animal to eat.
It's
like,
not.
can you believe those people?
Can you believe cows in Colorado? Like they have farms where they grow cows. It's like so bizarre. Anyway, that's about Colorado. Like Colorado's elitist or something.
But it's so interesting. And then, like, Dylan's side is interesting, too, because I had already, like, years ago heard this talk that his mom gave because she's started, like, speaking out about it and stuff like that. And did you know that 2 years after the Columbine shooting, she got diagnosed with breast cancer?
Yo, poor woman.
That always kills me. I'm like, man.
Stop.
And she was just talking about, like, how, like, because there had been warning signs. Like, I mean, Dylan had been arrested, like, a couple times leading up to it, I think. Like, or at least once because of them breaking into this van to steal this stuff.
Yeah.
And whereas Eric is, like, writing in his journal after he has to write a thank you note to this guy because they, like, you know, give them a slap on the wrist because they're kids.
Yeah.
Or, like, he has to write an apology note, an apology note to the guy who he stole from, and then he writes in his journal, and he's like, "I have a right to steal things if I want to, blah, blah, blah." That's what Eric is writing, because he's, like, a crazy person with, like, a messiah complex.
I have the right to steal.
But, like, he's doing that, whereas Dylan, like, his mom talked about this one time, and it must have been the year before, because Columbine happened on April 20th, 1999, which was, like, a couple weeks before Mother's Day, but I guess the Mother's Day the year before, and she was, like, crying when she was talking about it. It made me so sad. She said that they, like, got into, like, a kind of, like, fight, and she, like, kind of, like, pushed him up against the fridge and was like, "You need to stop being so selfish, blah, blah, blah," and was, like, yelling at him about other things. And then she was like, "By the way, it's Mother's Day, but I guess you forgot." And he was like, "You better stop me, or you better stop because I don't know, how much I can control myself," is what he said.
Oh no.
Yeah, but even when she said it, she was like, but it wasn't in, like, a scary way. She was like, "I wasn't scared when he said it. It was more of, like, sad."
Yeah.
And then they, like, stopped, and then he went out and bought her, like, African violets and brought them back.
Aww.
Because he and Eric worked at the same restaurant at this, like, pizza place, which I guess that's where he got his money for, like, guns and all these things, and oh, it's so weird.
I think what's interesting about Columbine is, like, it's so sad, but you have to remember they're kids.
Yeah.
You know, like,
they were right about to graduate.
Yeah, like, they're children. Like, and when you're in high school, like, you're a child. Like, it doesn't matter how old. Like, my brother right now, he is a child. Like, his brain just, it does not. Just the things that are important that don't matter at all to someone that's past that. But, like, when you're in it, you're in it. And I think, like, gosh, it's just, like, crazy, like, child, like, killers and young people that kill, like, that fight, you know, and, like, then he went out and got his mom, like, violence. It's like, he's a kid, like, you know, like, they did something horrible and wrong, but it's just, like, they're kids. I don't know, it's just, like, really crazy.
Yeah. And there was, like, this one video, because they would take their camera to school, like, all the time, because I think they were in, like, a class where they would do little film things. Some of their skits were actually, like, kind of funny. I was like, you were mildly talented at this. Like, I mean, not, like, shockingly talented, but not bad. Because they would come up with the whole idea themselves, and it wasn't bad. But there was, like, they had just brought their camera to school and were just, like, filming while they were talking to people and stuff, and there was some new girl that they were, like, obsessed. Like, they were following her around.
That's how high school boys be, though.
That is how high school
girl.
boys be. Yeah. Exactly. And it was just so interesting to see it because Dylan was filming and Eric was on screen with her, and, like, they kept saying that Eric liked her. Like, whenever she wasn't around, they'd be like, "Oh, Eric's new girl, blah, blah, blah." But, like, when she was around, he would, like, act like as if he wasn't interested, kind of, like, with his body language just a little. And, like,
guy.
Whereas Dylan is behind the camera, and you can tell that Dylan is like, anytime she would say anything to him, he'd be like, and, like, you could tell that he's just so, like, desperate for, like, any kind of connection. And, like, all through his diaries, he's just, like, ranting about how upset he is that he, like, doesn't have a connection with a girl and stuff like that, and saying like that he feels so unaccepted, and when that's like all that he wants most is to be accepted. Which, like, not to say that he didn't have friends, and not to say that he wasn't loved, because I don't think that either of those things are true. And, like, and his mom talks about it some in her thing, where she said that one day she was at work, and she was, like, talking to someone about it, and she was like, I just think that if he could do something like this, then he never loved me. And this woman who had, like, overheard it pulled her aside later and was like, you know, when I had kids, I got postpartum depression. She was like, and I had like 3 kids and a husband, and I love them a lot. But she was like, when I got to the point that I had to be hospitalized for my depression, I just thought that they would be better off without me. She's like, that's how I thought of it. It wasn't that I didn't love them or care about them. It's just that depression is really strong and terrible. Yeah. And then when you have someone with Eric's psychopathic Aries energy coming in the mix.
He didn't have any trouble getting girls and girlfriends.
It's because he'd be acting all detached. Because I'm telling you, I was literally, like, as I was watching it, I was like, oh, baby boy Dylan, I can feel your desperation. I was like, but Eric is supposedly the one who likes her, and he is the one who, like, I'm sure she would give her attention to more. If anything, his friends were holding him back because they kept being like, go talk to her, go bring her over here, you want us to bring her over here, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you guys are ruining his game. You're blowing it up. I was like, there's nothing a girl wants less to get way too much attention and feel smothered. I'm trying to think if there's anything else interesting that I found. Oh, one thing that I thought was really interesting was, so they both worked at the same pizza place, and Eric had started making bombs, because, I mean, Columbine was supposed to be a bombing.
The bombs didn't work.
Yeah.
They were going to bomb it after they shot it.
Can we also just say how Virgo it is, that, like, the bombs didn't work, so they go into the library, it's super easy for them to kill people there, because there's, like, not enough tables for them to hide underneath, and there's plenty of people to kill.
Yeah.
But they're so annoyed that the bombs didn't go off that they go back and try to shoot the bombs again. I was like, that's mad Virgo energy, because I have seen Mando work on a DVD player that we couldn't get to work for, like, over an hour while we were at a party.
This is very determined.
You remember Renee's Bachelorette thing?
Yes.
Mando worked on that DVD player for so long.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
That's some Virgo stuff right there.
Pure Virgo unleashed.
Because, like, I would never. I'd be like, oh, sad day, didn't work. Move on to the next.
What's next?
Oh, but Eric had been testing out how to make the pipe bombs, and he brought one to work. Which also, Eric held a higher position at the job than Dylan, because, I mean, Eric's the leader. But literally, his boss didn't call the authorities or anything. His boss was just like, put it back in your car and come back in here.
Put it back in your car?
No! Right? That was the owner. Like, not just some random teenage manager. That was the owner of the pizza place.
If anything, you say, oh, go put that back in your car. And then you call the cops like, oh my gosh, this kid.
Yeah, well, and also, Eric was super, like, the interesting one. Like, as I was doing my research, I was like, man, I wish I was researching Eric. He's
an Aries, right?
Yeah. You know, I'd be drawn to those Aries.
I love them. They're just so wild. You know what you're gonna get.
And he had created this website that was insanity. It was just pure crazy talk all through it. And he had this one guy in school who he hated. And so he, like, on the website was like, I want to kill this guy, blah, 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 like, talking all these ways that he should be harmed. And there were differing accounts. Like, one person said, oh, Dylan told the guy that he had written that on the website, and someone else was like, no, the guy's brother just found it and, like, showed it. Which I think that one's more believable. I don't think that Dylan would have betrayed Eric, to be real.
Yeah.
Based on the other stuff I saw. But then, because that family found out about it, they, like, called the police, and he had to, like, take it down and blah, blah, blah. But then, apparently, like, just a little bit before the shooting and stuff, like, or sometime during that year, he and that guy had, like, squashed their beef. And so he literally ran into him as they were going into the school, like, after the period had just let out, and he was like, you know, we're okay now, I like you, get out of here. Like, don't come back into school. And the guy not even thinking, because he was just, like, about to ditch his last class, and he was just like, okay, bye. Which I was like, permission, but you're the worst. I was like, oh, why don't anyone ever see the signs? I saw this one girl's YouTube video about Columbine, and she was like, I can't believe that no one noticed them bringing the duffel bags into the cafeteria, blah, blah, blah. And in my mind, I was like, you think that high school students in a cafeteria are worried about what anyone else is doing?
I know, exactly.
They do not
self-involved. They're like, no.
Also, duffel bags does not automatically mean, oh, you know what? They're probably bringing some guns
Especially
in here.
When I know, involved
that's
in
not
sports,
what I would think.
You're like, oh, maybe it's just like a sports bag.
Oh, it was so sad. And, like, calling people fat before they shot them, things like that. They had 24 pipe bombs.
They're just jerks.
They are jerks. It's so crazy how short the time went, too. That
Yes.
They did.
Yeah. That's so true.
But honestly, I'm surprised that they didn't do more damage. Because
Yeah.
they honestly could have easily.
Oh, yeah, they could have, yeah.
I wonder why they stopped when they did.
The
We'll never
footage
know.
is so weird from Columbine.
Also, April 20th is Hitler's birthday.
It's also my sister's birthday. Yeah. She's freaking. It's also 420.
Oh, yeah, 420.
Blaze it. It's Colorado's favorite holiday. They'd have lots of green balloons outside the dispensaries.
I wonder which came first.
Oh, yeah, that's...
I don't know.
That was one thing that Dylan's mom talked about, is that the reason that she, like, wasn't as worried about Dylan is because she was so concerned about her older son who was going through drug use at the time. And so she, like, thought that
This
that's
poor
what she needed to worry
freaking
about.
lady, dude. Just dealt the wrong cards, honestly. Like,
I do feel for her.
I feel for her. You know what I'm saying?
What was the family situation? Was it just her? Was there...
No, there was a dad.
Okay.
Literally, when Dylan left that morning, he woke up so early that she was like, "That's not right." And so she like opened her door and was like, "Dill," and he was just like, "Bye," and like had walked out the door. And then she went back into her room. And she like woke her husband up and was like, "There's something really wrong with him. I don't know what it is. When you get home from work today, will you talk to him?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'll make sure I come home and talk to him."
Oh, wow. That's
Aww.
horrible.
So
It's
depressing.
heartbreaking.
Oh, and Dylan was a cutter,
Yeah.
of course.
That's.
And it's crazy too because they went to prom 3 days before. It's just so weird to me that you would want to go to prom. Why
Yeah.
would you want to spend time with these people?
Right.
Like, I don't. Dylan had a date.
They
to
probably
prom.
just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
They're like,
I'd
these
say
suckers
they
don't
were,
even
like-
know what's coming.
Right.
Yeah. They were laughing as they were doing it.
Yeah.
Like, they thought it was
they
funny.
Thought it was.
They were probably like, these people are...
I
This is
think
going to be
it's-
the best night of their lives because in a few days they're going to be dead.
Yeah.
Oh, did you know that Dylan's nickname when he was a little kid was Sunshine Boy?
Oh.
Because he had like blonde hair and was just always smiling.
That's so
Sad.
It's so sad. Oh, and when they were working at the pizza place, Dylan one day was getting a performance review from the assistant manager, and he hit him. I was like, that's crazy. And then at one point he quit for a little bit because there had been an incident involving explosives. That's all they said. They didn't give me any more information. I was like, use your words.
And they let him come back. They were like,
I know.
oh yeah, we'll hire you again.
I was like, is this like similar to Eric's bringing the pipe bomb in? You're just like, put it back in your car.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys.
Playing with their bombs.
Oh, silly boys.
That's pretty much it for mine. Ken's.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say I am embarrassed. I have not as much research as Nadine. Not nearly as much research as Nadine. So, mine will be quick, because
Okay.
I'm like...
I'm ready for it either way.
Yep.
Okay. Alright, so this human, their sun sign is Pisces. Very exciting, which is actually a pretty popular sun sign for serial killers.
Interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell us
Good to
about
know.
Pisces.
So the Pisces, I really, really like Pisces a lot. I've had a good friend that was a Pisces. Of course, she's not my friend anymore, so I guess it doesn't count.
Was this
Well-
the crazy one?
No, she was an Aries Taurus.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
crazy
combo.
energy, yeah. She was born on April 20th, too.
Look at that.
I know.
Wow.
I always used to call her and my sister crazy because they were born on that day, and they're both crazy people. So, I guess I'll just list some good traits of Pisces, I think. So, I found some that are positive and negative Pisces traits. Pisces, off the top of my head, that I think of instantly is very artsy, very, very indie type people, generally. Loving and caring, trusting, hospitable, shy, helpful, romantic, creative, those types of things. But the negative, self-pitying, temperamental, dependent, escapist. I think escapist is big for this person.
Yeah.
Escapist is huge for this person. Can lose touch with reality.
Rich
Could
fantasy
never
life.
be in a
Yes, yep.
relationship with someone. What were the first ones that you said? The first
Loving and
negative ones?
caring, shy, helpful, romantic, creative, but then the creative and mystical, self-pitying, temperamental.
Yes.
They're sort of,
Temperamental and dependent. I could never be in a relationship
Yeah.
with that person even for a day.
I know that Cancer and Pisces usually go really well together because we're both like really like floaty, like mystical, like weird type, like that kind of energy that's like that.
Just got that hippy dippy.
Yeah, like kind of like a fluidity type.
I love it when Amanda says hippie dip.
So
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But also Cancers. This person actually has Cancer, is Cancer rising, so I'll go back to that. So
Should we take that as a sign that they're Cancer and
Pisces.
Are they
No, it's not.
very mystical?
No, I think the biggest thing from this person is the escape from reality or escapist sensationalist. Their moon sign is Capricorn. Oh.
Holla, that's my
Sun
regular. Yep, that one.
Yeah.
Don't know
Oh, I
anything
always
about
forget.
astrology.
I always
you
forget
guys.
because I always think of you as the goat of fear.
Well,
So I
that's what
forget
it
that
is.
it's a Capricorn.
Capricorn, right?
Yeah, who needs to know that name when we know it's the goat of fear?
Exactly.
Tell us about the goat of fear.
So, some positive traits for the goat of fear would be wise, respectful, realistic, hardworking,
All true.
organized. I think organized would probably apply to this person pretty well.
It's a
Ambitious.
good trait to have when you're killing people.
Right. Negative, cynical, selfish, unforgiving, manipulative, egotistical. This person is really I think egotistical. It's really good. So more Capricorn things. Capricorn, ruthless, status-seeking, self-absorbed. Those types of things come to my mind when I think of this person.
This is not my moon sign.
Right.
That's what you're talking about. The moon sign of this person?
Yeah, this is their moon sign.
Yeah.
But
My moon sign is
Oh, so their
Sagittarius.
rising was Cancer?
So their sun sign is Pisces, so that's who they are. Their moon sign is Capricorn, so that's how they handle emotional things and who they kind of hide. And then this is their rising sign, which is Cancer, which is how other people will how you perceive your physicality. Interesting, Cancer is family oriented. That's something that I just know. Creative, emotive. I think this person definitely their killing was sexual in nature, but definitely I think the biggest thing is the escape from reality type and moody, negative, clingy. This person lived a double life, I guess we could say. Moody,
They
negative.
usually do.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's so true.
Can't be out and proud
Suspicious
murdering
and
people, you know?
Unpredictable. So, those are some of the traits for this person. So, do you want to pick 20 questions?
Yeah.
Do you want more traits, Nadine? You're confused.
No, I was just trying to remember. When are Pisces born? What was their birth date?
They were, Pisces is February, around February, March. So, this person was born March 9th.
March 9th.
It doesn't really...
Sexual in nature. So, did they kill for the love of killing, or did they kill because they really wanted a corpse?
Oh yeah, were the sex crimes before or after murder?
Before murder.
Okay.
In the U.S.?
Yes. And it is a man.
Yeah, obvi.
When was the height of their...
The 70s?
Okay.
Will we for sure know them?
Yes, they're pretty popular. They're pretty popular.
Pretty popular. Did they prefer men or women?
No preference.
No preference.
Yeah.
I know, the fact that you have
Okay.
to think this much is surprising me.
I know.
I know. That's why I was
Yeah.
so it's no preference? I
It's
don't
usually all ladies or all dudes.
Well, there was a family. There was a couple families.
Oh, is this BTK?
It is BTK.
know.
Yep.
Alright.
That's why I was trying to think as women, but he
Man,
killed
what a
some
douchebag.
families, yeah.
That was
So-
the worst.
So so BTK is a Pisces. So I think of that escapism because of the
Oh, he liked to write poems.
and there we go. And then he also would send
Bad poems.
things into the press, and he wasn't very good at spelling things like that. He had that double life. He had a whole family.
Oh, yeah.
He had a wife and kids. He went to church. He was a Cub Scout leader.
Yeah,
he
was.
had a whole entire.
One time
thing going on.
when he broke into one of the houses after he'd murdered everyone, he would just hang out in the houses and he just would have a bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Real trash bag of a guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He looks like the kind of guy you don't want to talk to,
Never. Dennis
You know?
Rader. Ugh.
but his downfall, of course, is the floppy disk.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's you guys can't track this, right? And they're like,
No!
send it on in! Impossible!
Yep. Good classic times. And I don't really have any other fun facts about him. I think
Man.
he's just
It's just so crazy because he could have gotten away with it, but he's all like, no, people need to know.
Yeah. I think that's sort of like, that like plays into that egotistical part of the zodiac sign. Like, he like was killing people, leading this whole separate double life, but he still is like, people still need to know.
He just like grabbing for power. Anywhere he could get it, he was like, ugh, mine.
Yeah, there was one where you said where it was like ruthless seeking for something. What was it?
It's like, let me see. Yeah, ruthless, pessimistic, skeptical, those types of things. I don't remember exactly.
I know me either. It was something though where it was like grasping for power or something like that, and I was like looked at Megan and I was like, "That's not you."
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah.
About being power seeking.
Because I don't.
Unforgiving.
Yeah, you do not.
Yeah, no.
Like, unforgiving, manipulative, egotistical, plotting, loner, pessimistic, those types of things. Yeah. So, pretty bad guy.
Such a tool.
Yeah.
One of the worst of the worst.
And then, like, in court, though, too, he was also, like, just deadpan and just giving them everything. No emotion at all.
Yeah.
Totally unrepentant.
Yeah, definitely. And definitely a very specific motive, like killing pattern, and just, I don't know, it's just fascinating the thing with outlook on, like, the cross-dressing and, like, binding and trying to, like, kind of be like his victims. And
oh yeah, he liked to take photographs of himself bound up with a creepy mask on.
Yeah. Super freak. Surprised he's not an Aquarius.
Exactly.
Super freak.
Amanda gets me.
Okay, that's what I got.
So, next episode, Megan and I are going to be talking about our bad people and what their signs were. So stay tuned for that, because this is a two-parter, baby. Surprise. See you next movie night, and don't forget, there are 201 days until Halloween.
Bye!
Don't forget, there are... I'm not great at this, sorry.
Restart that again.
Yeah.
Alright, see you next movie night, and don't forget, there are... Why is there... I'm sorry, I'm just confused with this hyphen. All the others have April 13th, like April the 6th, with the TH on the end, and this one then doesn't, and so it just confused my brain to look at it, and I was like, wait, 13 hyphen, what, 201? What does that mean?
1,302.
Right, to start your outro all over again.
All over again from the top?
From
at
the
this
see you
point-
next movie night,
Okay.
or whatever.
Alright.
Okay, perfect. Me too, then.
We talked about this!
I know, but do we have any special like sign on or anything?
I'm sorry, did you just hear your mom go, give me some sugar, baby?
Always.
I
did hear it.
good. It's like dead
We'll
air.
cut that.
None of us know who the other person has. Our friend who's not on the cast, Dahmer, like organized it for us to make sure that we didn't have the same person, although all of us do. I'm sorry. I can't even control
We'll know
laughing.
mine, okay?
Because Amanda literally can't hold water.
Okay, no. I was doing some last minute research on YouTube, and then if we hadn't decided to watch a YouTube video, it wouldn't have popped up on my smart
But don't
TV.
tell them who you have, okay? I'm sorry
You
to
wouldn't
cut you
have
off.
seen the
Nope,
special
don't say
I was
it.
watching.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't say it!
I
doesn't trust me at all.
No, she doesn't.
I know you. We've just met. That's all.
Hi, we just met today.
But yeah, so we all do know Amanda's.
I mostly just know about my sign.
Yeah.
And then I'm really into Aries for no reason.
Yes.
It's kind of, I think, no, I'm not even gonna try. Mackenzie's looking it up, but we'll edit that part out, so, you know.
Almost not worth mentioning.
My little person's moon sign was Aquarius,
My little fella.
which, just as a side note,
I know
when
that-
I, what?
I wasn't looking at it.
I know. Nadine has no trust, just so we know. But just as a side note, do you guys remember we looked up our signs like a little bit ago, like all three of our signs, and I was jealous of our friend Dahmer who had Aquarius as their moon sign because I got Libra as my moon sign and I wasn't pleased. But after reading up on Aquarius as the moon sign, I'm like, pass. So I felt a little bit better. Which I had more Virgo notes on the side too.
Holy snap, that scared me.
Sorry, the ghost just knocked down Mackenzie's needlework.
It's a ghost cat, so it likes to knock things down.
Sure.
I do.
I think.
It's taking forever.
Yeah.
It's been 45 minutes.
But it's been a million years.
I feel like we spent 45
This feels
minutes
like-
on Columbine. So
I know. We did spend a long time on Columbine. I'm sorry, guys.
So did. Anyway.
We really so did.
I feel like in SpongeBob when he's supposed to be delivering the Krusty Krab pizza and he never comes.
Do you remember what time you called?
A boulder.
Look on your phone.
I'm sorry. Did I inconvenience you, Amanda?
Anyway, we're gonna have a podcast.
It's like, since we're taking a break, I'm gonna take a sip of this.
Might as well.
Just can't even go. So unprofessional.
I'm just saying if they've
People are
forgotten us or
hungry.
something that I'd
52
want us
minutes
to
ago is when I commenced the call, and we've been recording for 39.
Okay, there it is.
Did I
The
get
numbers
for
don't
pizza
lie, baby.
for not making it on time? No,
I've got no idea.
probably not. Continue.